Hi, folks. Christine Weber here. Welcome to my weekly live stream. Um, I'm usually here 11 o'clock on Wednesdays or around that time. And today I want to talk a little bit about Seva, SEVA. Also, sometimes you can think of it as karma yoga, depending on the context. But Seva means basically some way that you serve, some way that you're helping. This topic's been something I've really been interested in for a long time because I used to think when I was a younger person, I used to think Seva meant I had to go to a soup kitchen and I had to, dig ditches. And like, I used to think it meant I had to really do something physical, physically with my body to help. And that is one form of Seva. There's actually, according to the Bhagavad Gita, there's four forms of Seva. The one seva is that it's like a Shudra Chitta seva, which means you don't need to know Sanskrit, but it means like physical work. Right now in Asheville, there's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of people like scraping mud out of houses and removing trees, and that is definitely what is needed. There are other kinds of seva, like protection seva, which would be the Kshatriyas. So the kind of seva where you're taking care of other people when there may be some kind of a threat. We see that happening all over the world all the time with warriors go to protect people in their, in their countries, for example. And then there's the Viprachita Seva, the Vipra Seva, which is the Vipra is when you're donating money. So that's a form of Seva too. And then, sorry, that's the Vaishya Chitta. I said that wrong. The Vipra Seva is when you are helping people to learning to still their mind, learning to build resilience through study, through practices that help them to learn how to take care of themselves. Like that seva is also a beautiful form of seva. So there's classic, traditionally, it's not really classically, it's terms of the epics of the yoga tradition from the Gita. There's these, four areas of service. We help others physically, we help others through protection, we help others with money, and then we help others with intellectually and psychologically. So I've been thinking about this a lot in response to the hurricane. People keep asking me how they can help Asheville, and I think all of those ways are helpful. So if you think about it that way, like I used to be like, oh, the only thing that helps is when you're digging ditches. But if you think about it that way, that there's actually lots of different ways that people can help. So we, for example, we have opened up our home to folks who are coming to volunteer. We've had first responders taking showers here. We have people staying here that are then going out into the community and doing, from other areas and doing work. That's like a form of service to give the volunteers a place to stay. That's something you could do, personally. It was about 20 years ago, I started getting really super clear. I was like, I know how I can best help in this world. Like, I know I have a stronger sense of identity. At that time, I started to realize I had just become a mother. And I was like, I have a much stronger sense of my identity now. My son really helped me with that. And then it became very clear to me how I could help. And yeah, some of the service I do, I get paid for. Some of it I don't. So, technically, if you get paid for something, is it still service? I think that that's something to consider, maybe, and then as I got clear about it, I could be more focused on like sometimes you have to get out there and dig ditches and help people do stuff physically, but that's not the way that I can serve the best. It's one thing I can do because sometimes you have to. There's no choice, right? But that's not my best. That's not the thing that I'm best at. And getting clear about that for yourself is like, what are you really best at? And then figuring out how to use that. I think that's really what we're called to do in challenging times, is figure out what we're really good at and then how we can use that skill to help other people. So if you're interested in helping Asheville, I recommend Be Loved. I put that in the bottom there. There's also a place called Nanostead up in Marshall, and I could put that in the description too. And Nanostead, they're doing a lot of rebuilding up there. Marshall is a town along the river, and most of the homes got damaged. Some of them actually are gone, but most of them got damaged. There are, of course, the Red Cross is doing a lot of work here. FEMA's been doing a lot of work here. Those aren't necessarily places to donate. My father just feels like really comfortable donating to the Red Cross. I'm like, great, they're doing good stuff. Donate to the Red Cross. And then, the option of actually coming to Asheville and helping out. If you have skills of building, especially, that's what is needed right now. What is definitely needed. But volunteer hands are needed everywhere. So if you're the kind of person who likes to use your body to help out, like that's definitely needed here right now. Funding money is always needed, of course, too. And there's some really cool little, I've been keeping an eye on what's going on in social media. There's cool little organizations popping up, people that are like bringing in these houses that are really easy to put up as temporary structures. And then other people offering building materials and helping people rebuild. So there's some really cool little things popping up here and there. Good website. There's one that's just called Western North Carolina. And there's a ton of different volunteer websites that are popping. I'm not websites, I'm sorry, Facebook pages. Tons of different Facebook pages popping up with ways that you can help. So I hope that this is a time of great gratitude for me, and I'm sure for many people. And it's also a time of great grief, personally, as well as just, as a community. There's a lot of gratitude, there's a lot of grief, there's a lot of sorrow, there's a lot of hope, and all those emotions at the same time seem very normal to me right now. And having, going in and out of those different emotional states seems very, very normal. And heartbreaking and also inspiring. Those things are both happening at the same time. So that was just a little Asheville update. I will keep you posted. It's been about 3 weeks now? We're coming up on 4 weeks actually since the storm. And yeah, we're going to need help here for months and months to come, if not years. Thanks so much for listening. I'd love to hear from you. Next week, I'll get back into talking, about more yoga techniques, but I felt like I needed to do that today. And I'll see you next week. Take care.